this car differs from other cars in many features.
$1.85 million.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Tucker from Preston Tucker Speed Shop. I just got back from Chattanooga this past weekend. We took Tucker number 44, which is the green car pictured behind me here. Car we restored in 2018 with Rob and Bob Ida. And I also did another talk at the AACA Museum this week in Hershey, PA. And one of the big questions that we often get is about the Tucker Accessory programs. So the Tucker Accessory program was the brainchild of Tucker marketing executive Cliff Noble, and Cliff actually wrote a book about his experience with Tucker after it happened. It's called Call to Market. This is an example of the book here. You can pick these up on various different sites. I got this one on eBay, but there's a whole chapter on Tucker that he writes about where the idea of the accessory program came from, the way that they applied it, and how successful he thought that it was or was not. But the basic idea was, in order to raise money for continuing operations of the company, they had to find a way to make money, essentially. So while they were selling dealerships to various individuals who wanted to take on a new business, those dealerships in turn would sell cars, but they didn't have any cars yet. So they had to figure out a way to generate revenue from that sale. And what they came up with was that they would pre-sell you accessories for your Tucker as part of that purchase. So when you walk into a dealership in 1948 and you were ready to buy your Tucker, you would be presented with a couple of different forms. I have two original examples right here. One is your sequence allotment form, and the other is the Tucker Accessory Program purchase order. So we'll start with the allotment form. And basically what this form did was executed a contract between you and the company for the specific car number that you were going to get from the dealership in question. So you would fill out the date of the transaction, the dealer, the customer's name, and then at the top it would give you an actual number, the sequence of the cars that dealership was going to get, and the one that was yours. So pretty cool idea of securing your car before you got it. So the other form that you would get is the Tucker Accessory Purchase Order. So this went through all the different accessory items that you wanted to buy with your Tucker, and that's the subject of the video today. So there were various different packages that you could go through. They had put together groupings of different things, kind of focusing on the luggage, which we'll look at here in a minute, together with different variations of the different things you see here. So luggage and radio, or luggage and heater, and different forms of the luggage, women's luggage, men's luggage, things like that. So if you look at the order form, there's actually 6 different packages that they put together for different groupings of things that you could buy. So we're going to start here with the luggage, and I'll go through what that looks like. So there's 2 different types of luggage. This is the standard luggage. So this was called the, what do they call it on here? I guess the wardrobe case. So this was a hard side luggage wrapped in leather. And there were actually 2 different sizes of this. I don't have an example of the smaller one because they're very hard to find, but this was the one that most people got, and the most common one that you'll see out there these days. And then the other luggage, which let me move this out of the way here, was the deluxe luggage. So they called this the cowhide luggage, and you'll see that it's a little bit, it's actually got soft sides, and the leather's a little bit nicer. The clasps on the top are a little bit nicer, and this also came in a small and a large size. This is the large size. Again, I don't have a small one because those are very hard to find. The other thing that you'll see with the luggage is it comes in a couple of different colors. There's dark and there's light, and I have seen several different variations because this is leather, so it's a natural finish. Sometimes it's a little bit darker, sometimes it's a little bit lighter, but there's many different forms of this out there. The next thing we're going to look at is the Tucker radio. So these radios were manufactured by Motorola. They actually use this in several different other vehicles in various forms. It's funny, a lot of times we'll have people contact us about radios thinking they have one of the 51 radios that exist, which is not really true, right? They actually made, we think, about 35,000 of these radios. So they're relatively common, However, because they really couldn't be used for much of anything else other than a vehicle radio, and in parts of it just in a Tucker, a lot of them didn't survive. They got discarded, people didn't save them, etc. So they are pretty rare these days, but they're not one of 51. So we're going to go ahead and take this radio out of the box. I'll show you what's inside it. So it started with your speaker. So you got the speaker for the radio. This would go behind what we call the dash taco. There's a U-shaped panel that goes around the dashboard where this speaker would mount. And next we've got, this is the control box. This one's actually not open, so I'm not going to open it. But in here, there's hardware and some uninteresting pieces of linkage. So it's what would link your radio control unit that we'll look at in a second here to your radio control box, along with all the hardware to mount the radio box into the car, the control unit, etc. So that's what is contained in here, and this one is sealed, so I am not going to open it. And then the last big heavy thing in the radio box is the radio. I'll call this the control box. So inside of this, this is an old tube style radio, made by Motorola. Like I said, it says Motorola right there. And this would mount behind the dash, hidden behind your dash taco, connect to your control unit, and be kind of the brain of your radio. So it's vacuum tubes. These days they're not as reliable as you would like them to be because they're old radio technology. So when we go ahead and put radios in cars, this is one of the main things that we have to make sure that we refurbish correctly. The parts inside of these are very hard to find, so it's one of the more challenging parts of the car when we're restoring it. Not to just make it work, but to make it reliable. The rest of the radio is made up of a couple of different other items. These two items here. So this is the radio control unit, and this is the radio antenna. So I'm going to open this up and show you what it looks like here. So it slides. All right, come on. All right, so we'll slide it out of its box. And it's wrapped in its original tissue paper here. And inside here, you would have the instructions for the radio along with the control unit. So I'm guessing they're in here, and they are wrapped around this radio. So I'm going to pull this paper away here. All right, I'm just going to set this over here. All right, and then the radio itself has the instructions wrapped around it, and then the cord and the front of the radio here. So these are the instructions, and then this is the radio unit itself. So pretty neat little design. That's the hardware. So this is obviously the electrical cord, but this would end up mounting on the side of the dash, kind of angled like that. And you can see here that the buttons actually say Tucker, so Tucker. That's how you selected which station you wanted. So these were pre-selectable buttons, and if you chose to listen to T today and you had that set to AM whatever 240, you'd hit your T button and there was your radio. So one of these knobs tunes the radio, and one of these knobs is for the volume. And you can see here the original tag noting that this is for tone control is still there too. So this is a pretty neat unit, and this one's in exceptionally good condition. I don't know that it's been opened maybe more than one time since we took it out of, or in addition to the time that we just opened this. So pretty neat little piece here. Then I'm going to show you the antenna. So the antenna mounted out on the fender, and these antenna kits included the antenna as well as some hardware and some wiring. So you got here the antenna wire, so this connects to the control box behind the dash. The antenna itself, and you can see it's quite long, so this you'd only really see from here up on the car. All right, the next accessory we're going to look at here is the Tucker seat cover. So this is a box of Tucker seat covers. One of the very interesting items in the program was the seat cover. So they came in 4 pieces, which we'll look at here in a second. But they were made of rayon or cloth and leather. So these, even when stored in somebody's house relatively well, tended to deteriorate pretty fast. So this is probably the hardest accessory item to find at all, and when you do find them in good condition. A lot of times you'll open these boxes and it's just a complete mess inside. So these are very difficult to find. We've been lucky enough to find a couple of sets. But what they look like inside, so I'm going to go ahead and open this box. This would have been made for the blue interior. I have seen red seat covers as well, which I would imagine should have been used on maroon cars that had the tan interior. I've not seen any green seat covers. I would have to think they may have made them for green interior cars, but I've never seen an original set. So it may have just been the blue and the red. Those are the two that I've seen. But what these seat covers are, I'm not going to unfold them all the way, but one each for the front and back seats and the bottom and top cushion. So the bottom cushion and the back would have a seat cover on both the front and the back seat. So you'll see four different pieces in here. I won't take these all the way out of the box, but here. So there's two here and two here. And another interesting note about the Tucker interior, which was something that was very ingenious that a lot of people don't know. You know, Preston recognized that an interior, when it wore over time, mostly wore in the front seat and specifically the driver portion of that seat first, because that's where, you know, every time somebody's in the car, somebody's in the driver's seat. Sometimes they don't have passengers, sometimes they do, but that seat tends to wear the most. So interestingly, he made the front and rear seat cushions interchangeable, so that when your front seat cushion started to show signs of wear, you would switch it with the back rear cushion and have a fresh cushion that would wear evenly over time. The last accessory we're going to take a look at today is the Tucker heater. So this is an example of a Tucker heater. You can see again here, this has somewhere around here, right here, the original shipping label. And a really cool part of this box is it actually has the factory address printed, or I guess spray painted in stencil on the box as well. So it's Tucker Corporation, Cicero Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, which is where the plant was. That plant is still there today. I've been there. They've split the building in two since then. One half is the Tootsie Roll factory, and the other half is the Ford City Mall. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this heater. This heater was made by the Bishop and Babcock company. So you can see here it was BNB. These again were not Tucker exclusive. They were used in other vehicles, but obviously Tucker had a lot of them because they sold them for the accessory program. So inside these boxes, the heater was 3 different boxes, and there's a little bit of discussion around this third box here and whether or not that was part of the kit. We've seen it with several of them, but I think it may have been used as part of another vehicle. So we keep them together when we do get the 3 pieces together, but this piece sometimes is there and sometimes is not. So I'm going to show you what's inside this box. This is a very, very rare example that I don't think has ever actually been removed from its box. So I'm going to kind of tilt it up here. You see there's instructions in here, a little tag noting who this heater was packaged by at the factory. There's a warranty tag in here, hardware, and then the heater itself. Now I do have another heater that I'm going to show you out of the box. I don't want to take this one out because I don't think it's ever been taken out, but I'm going to show you this one back here. This here is what that heater would look like. You can see where it says B&B on the front there. It would have been mounted on via these screws here, or these studs, onto the firewall, and then there would have been the lines coming off to go to the various sections of the vehicle. So the second part of the heater, I guess the second and third parts of the heater, was the tubing and all the different ducting and I guess pieces that would make up how it became a defrost kit or a fresh air kit. This kit here has some hoses and various different pieces of what would ultimately connect to the defrost. Again, we're not sure if this is Tucker specific. These kits sometimes can come with these pieces and sometimes don't. But you see there's various valves and things that connect to the top of the heater and ultimately make this a defrost, along with some tubes that would run that up to along your windshield, or there's the fresh air vents in the vehicle. I'm not going to pull this all the way out of the box because, again, I don't know that it's ever been all the way out of its box, and I don't want to disturb it for originality purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. This kit, inside this box, is a couple of different kits that would make up the defrost and fresh air kit. I'm going to pull this box out, turn it around here. So you'll see here again, this says BNB, that's Bishop and Babcock. That's where the heaters, or the company that made the heaters. This is the first portion of the kit. It's called the Universal Defrost Kit. You can see it on the label there. And then underneath that, there's a very long length of hose that would connect the heater to the vehicle. This has been sitting here for 75 years, so it's quite hard, but this is an original. So I'm going to set this aside here. And then in the bottom portion, there's another box, and this was the fresh air attachment. So I'm not going to open this portion of the box because, again, it never has been opened, so I don't want to disturb it. All right, so the heater there was the last of the accessory kit, and I hope you enjoyed the look we had today at a little bit of the life of a Tucker dealer back in 1948 with all the different accessories that you could buy. If you like content like this, please go ahead and like this video, and more importantly, subscribe to our channel. That's how we know that people like this content and want us to keep making it. If you have any desire to get some Tucker merchandise or a shirt like this, which is a new color that we just came out with, available on our website at tuckercorporation.com, or this hat is also available there. You can also follow us on social media. Our Facebook is Preston Tucker LLC. We also have Instagram, so I'm Mike Tucker 48. My brother is Sean Tucker 48. And like I said before, we also partner with our friends Rob and Bob Ida. So my son here is wearing one of their shirts. So this is the Tucker Torpedo. This is a pretty cool shirt made from the original concept of the Tucker. So this is available on Rob's website at robidaconcepts.com. This here is Hudson Tucker. He's my son. So this is Preston Tucker's great grandson. So carrying on the legacy and a car guy as much as he can be. So he's enjoying the experience that we have with Tucker. So thanks, and I'll see you next time on the next video.